practical is better than pretty, and you got to start somewhere. This is very dangerous. My disclaimer, do this at your own risk. I haven't even started to really put the squeeze to it. Yeah, that's welcome to Todd Family Farm. Glad you joined us. I think we've got a pretty entertaining video for you here. We're hoping that's what we're anticipating today. So it is like September 21st, and you've probably, hopefully you've seen our storm cellar, which we're using as a root cellar play series. And now we've got another project coming up, and maybe you've already seen that we're doing it. I don't know what order the videos will come out, but we got a cistern. So we cut into a field yesterday, combining, and we got to finish setting up today. So that's one thing we're going to do. Another thing we're going to do, which I think a lot of people find pretty interesting, is we're going to go get some walleyes and release some walleyes in our pond. And we're going to put a cistern in. So the cistern, I think, will be a separate video series. And then the last thing is we've got 7 bushels of apples picked that are good for pressing cider. So we're going to press cider in this video and put walleyes in, and those other stuffs will probably fit into some other vlogs. But I'll give you a little update on the root cellar here. This is 6 days, no, this is 5 days of rye grain. So if you were to zoom in on that, there's a little fuzz over that, and the rye grain is already about that big, and that's moisture and heat would do that. And it's looking good. We seeded it thick because we want a root mass in there. But rye grain likes to sprout, and it's really coming along nicely. So that's 5 days, and we already have a nice starting to get some organic matter on top. So that came along nicely. I've been watering it, but we got a 1/4 inch last night. Slowed us down on harvest, gave us some opportunity to get some other stuff fixed, and that's what we're doing. So I can tell you, we like to press apples. That's going to be pretty fun. We're excited to show you that. And as far as walleyes in our pond, I can explain it to you now, or I explain it to you then. The cider, we've got some unique ways of doing that. So we're excited to show you, and stay tuned. Enjoy. The trees are by the road. They're covered in road dust. So we just got a big tank. We're going to put all our apples in here and just try to let them soak and maybe get some of the dust off of them. If there's some that we missed that have bugs, the bugs will float out. And so we pre-wash our apples a little bit. If you like homesteading, my philosophy on homesteading is practical is better than pretty, and you got to start somewhere. And you can always aspire for something better. For instance, the root cellar, yeah, that's pretty nice right now. I've been married 15 years, and we're just now getting to that point. We've always been the idea of big garden and storing our stuff for our family as long as possible. So what we did to begin with is we made what we call the cold room. And I went to the corner of my basement and I framed in with 2x4s about a 6x6 room, and I insulated it and plasticed it all real tight, ceiling and walls and everything, to where it's super insulated in my basement. And it's on the northwest corner of my basement, and that would be the coldest, and it was like a refrigerator in there all winter. Even though our basement is semi-finished, or kind of, that's where our furnace is and stuff. So that was our root cellar. It was a cold room in our basement. Then, now we've really upped our game to the outdoor root cellar. This is our apple press. I'm going to show you our apple press. That is a motor right here. Come on up so they can hear me okay, Abby. Now this is a motor. Now this was a manual press that you can get from like Northern Tool or something, and you can see the inside right there, and when it turns, it chops the apples up. You're going to see that. It had a crank wheel, and when you hit apples, it's kind of tough. Well, we do a lot of apples. We've got 7 bushels for today, and it's not much fun, so I'm hooking it to a motor. And what I did is, this is a motor, and this actually came off of our hog house feed line. And this is what they would use on a hog house. This one didn't come off of it. This is like what would use on a hog house feed line. It's a regular 1750 horsepower or RPM motor. This one I think might be 1 horse. But this right here, up here, that's a gearbox, and it reduces it to about 350 RPM, but it's got a lot more power at 350. Of course, you're reducing the gear. So you've geared it down like 4 to 1 or 3.5 to 1. So this has got a lot more power and torque and a lot less RPM. So if this thing was humming along at 1750 RPM, way too fast, it'd be gyrating. So we've got a gear reduction motor here, and this is just like something you'd get from Hog Slat or Chore Time. And then I'm going to take right here, and I made a shaft. I took the handle off, and I made a shaft, and we'll just butt this up, maybe double nut it. And I just took a piece of tube, and it doesn't have to be real super up to specs and tight. And what I will do now is, when this gets up here, I'll get me some big clamps. I'm going to clamp this to the tailgate, clamp that to the tailgate, clamp this down, and just take some big C-clamps and kind of clamp all this together. And then when we plug it in, this will be running at 350 RPMs or so, which is perfect for grinding apples. And you're going fast enough that if you do it manually, it just goes ka-chunk, ka-chunk, and it builds up. But now this thing, it'll actually spit these apples out. And we're going to get this close to the edge like this, get that spout over the edge, clamp that bad boy on, and tight, and try to have her in line nicely. And when we get that done, you'll see it here in action. Okay, this is another situation that it is dangerous. So these guys have already had a pep talk. Lemuel's done been scolded for getting back. He's got baggy clothes on, very dangerous. Right here, this is very dangerous because this will be spinning, although not too fast. It will be very high torque. So then you're not going to kill this getting caught. It's going to rip your clothes off or hurt you. So this is dangerous, so nobody gets to be around this but me. There is some hazard here, but be aware that everybody's had a pep talk. This could be made safer. Probably put a pipe around it, might be safer. But our safety is that the youngins just have to stay back. Meanwhile, this is a chipper, a shredder. This will grind your hand palm up if you ain't careful. So they've had their safeties taught. My disclaimer: do this at your own risk, or make it safer, or whatever. But this can be dangerous. Use some common sense and precaution. Okay, we're going to press. This is just another northern tool type press. I'll show you how we do it and what works. We're going to do it into a little roaster pan. You can put this up on a table, but we just do it into a roaster pan, pour it into the buckets, and I'll show you how we do it. Our challenge today is flies. The flies are sticky. This is a late fall day or late summer day, early fall day. Flies are sticky. They love this, so we have to press. Then we filter it inside. It'd be good to filter it, but also sometimes you pasteurize, sometimes you don't. But these are pretty good apples. Not a lot of bugs or anything. So we may not even pasteurize this, but a lot of people do. So I'm going to show you pressing, and you just filter and pasteurize. But the challenge is flies on a day like that. So the 3 6-year-olds here they're on flight patrol. If you see them around flapping their wings, they haven't gone plumb crazy. They're trying to keep the flies off. So it's just Iowa in late summer. So we try to load it evenly, and you can kind of press it by hand and keep it even, or else it gets cocked off. Yeah. Okay, these pieces come with the press. They go right around here, and you just make sure you fit them. Then what you do is give me the ratcheting mechanism. Ratcheting mechanism goes on the top like this, and it goes down. So when you put these on, you need to make sure that they're not going to stick out, and because these are going to be pushed down below the edge of this. So don't let them stick out like that, or even a corner that catches your basket. So get them on there good. Crisscross them like this. I'm going to push it down like this now. You can watch that juice come out just by pushing it by hand. Now, when I start, I just take this piece that's right here, and I start putting pressure on it just by swiveling this piece. See that piece right there? Turn this piece just like this, just by hand, okay? And you can do a lot just by hand pressure right there. So you can see the juice just coming out, and I haven't even started to really put the squeeze to it. Now, this is the handle here. And when you get your press, it'll come with these two little ratcheting mechanisms. And what you do is, if you're turning it this way, which I can still turn it by hand a little bit. You see how that's turning? This piece here, that's what you're actually turning. So you can take this and the long side will go down. Then when you do that, it pushes it. Well, this comes back, and that's a ratcheting mechanism. It gives you two, but I don't find the need to have two. It'll be double action if you do it, but you can double action it. But I think that's pointless. I just go like this. And I leave that one as a spare. Look at how much starts coming out now.
So we're in the middle of pressing apples, and we need some of the public opinion on how our cider tastes. So we turn to Isella, who has taste tested plenty enough to know how it tastes. So Isella, what do you think?
Good.
Is this some of the best cider you've had?
Yes.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
What would you like to say to the camera?
I would like to say the apple cider is good.
Okay, come see. We filled this up, and we had it fairly packed. I mean, it wasn't like it was loose. I packed it in there by hand, you've seen. So now the bottom of the press, we went from packed up here to we have squozen this all the way down to there, okay? So this is a lot of hard work, really. So we have to do this process, I don't know, for 7 bushels, we're gonna have to do this like 30 or 40 times. So we ain't gonna show you all that, but it sure gets old. But you can see out of one of these how much we got. And I don't know if we're actually gonna get 30 or 40. But we'll see how much we get total. So I'm going to come over here now and take this, and we're going to pour it into this bucket. And you see that kind of the settlement, and we're going to go ahead and just fling that out. Then I'll rinse that out. I'll show you the plug that comes out of there, and we put that down in the compost. Okay, to take it off, you just take this out, turn it, it was in there like that, you turn it around this way, then it will ratchet it backwards. And after you get going a couple strokes, it gets kind of loose. Okay, and then watch out, we spin her up. Okay, set that down, take the blocks out, try to get this pushboard up. We'll come straight up with it like this. It's pressed tight. We come over here, put it right on top of a 5-gallon bucket, and push it down. That's it. Now, commercial press could have pressed this a lot harder and gotten some more juice out of it. Ours won't take it, and we don't have the time to wait for it to get every single bit of juice out. So we get 90% of the juice out, and the chickens in the garden gets the rest. That'll rot down into really nice compost. We're gonna go fast because the flies are around. We've got this filtered. We don't want flies in it. And you seen that tub was about 75% full. We pressed it and we have 5 gallons of cider. So we're going to get this cider inside. We're going to pause on the rest because we got to go get walleye.
So like Dad said, we are going to get some walleye. So that's where we're headed now.
We're putting walleyes in our pond because we have crappie in our pond, and the crappie spawned very well this year, very well. So we have literally millions of crappies from that big to that big, even some that big. And we don't have enough predator fish to take out those crappies right now. Even though crappie technically is a predator fish, we're going to try to see if those crappie can't become bait fish too. And I think they'll be a bait fish with good, hungry, growing walleye. So we'd like to get some walleye in there. Walleye are completely put and take. Most people, put and take means you put them in and you take them out. You put them in, you grow them, you harvest them out. And walleye cannot spawn in a pond. Crappie are very erratic spawning, but when they spawn like crazy. And then you have way too many crappie. Bass are consistent. Catfish, most people don't think they can spawn in a pond, but they can if they have to. And there were some questions in the comments. They can, no, I should say can if they have to. They can if they try. But it's hard for them. They have to have a cavity to back into, lay the eggs. Then the eggs have to get fertilized. And that's a hard thing for catfish to get done in just a normal farm pond. We have some structure that allows it, so we can spawn catfish, but that's maybe 1 or 2 might get it done every year. It's not like we have a crazy. So we have channel cats spawning. Walleye will not spawn. Grass carp will not spawn. You put them in, they're done. Catfish, they don't go crazy, but crappie will go crazy. And we need to really do something to get our crappie down so we can put walleye in, and we know there's not going to be any more walleye go there. And hopefully they'll wipe out all those little baby crappie and be big enough to enjoy catching and eating.
Okay guys, it is a little while later now, so this is 3 of the gallons jugs that we got of apple cider. We ended up getting like almost 15, which is really good. Turned out really well. This is some of the best cider that we've ever had, and it turned out really well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, leave a comment down below, turn on your notification bells, that way you get notified every single time we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.